Hey everybody, I'm just doing a little bit of a 40K Adeptus Mechanicus video today, and the beginning part of the video and most of the video is really going to be a book review today. I actually did pick up Skitarius by Rob Sanders by the Black Library. I typically don't get these really fancy, exclusive, limited edition kind of books and things, particularly even, like codex releases and things like that. I usually don't. This was sort of interesting. When the Mechanicus stuff came out, even though I said, I'm definitely going to get some of these, some of this, some of that, I ended up really holding off on everything. Like, I've not really bought anything from the models or the codices or codex at this point related to the Skitari release. But when they advertised this book, which is a roughly 200-page book and a limited edition book for about $40, I thought, it's a new army, and I'm really interested in it, and I really like reading the background. And so a hardcover book in a limited edition format for $40, even though it's only 200 pages, I thought, I'm going to get this. This is going to be a little treat. I've been really looking into this release, and I'm holding off, and so I'm going to get this. And so, for those of you that watch my channel, I spend way too much time rationalizing my purchases with you guys. But on to the book review. I'll just kind of show the quality of the book first for a limited edition book. It is not of the same caliber as, let's say, the Talent of Horus book, which I don't have, but just from seeing it, it's not leather bound. It doesn't have nearly as much as some of those $90 hardback limited edition books. This is a much smaller scale limited edition release, in my opinion. It does come with this slipcover, which is kind of nice. It just has this sort of red picture with all of these sort of Mechanicus Mechanicum symbols in all kinds of patterns, and then you've got, of course, your cog, with the handhold and the lightning bolt. It does say here, Warhammer 40,000, Adeptus Mechanicus Skitarius. So this is actually set in the Warhammer 40,000 universe and not in the Horus Heresy, which I'm actually more accustomed to reading lately. Now, for the actual hardcover itself, it's actually quite nice. You probably have seen this before. I think these pictures have been all over the net, and during the release, but it's showing the Alpha Prime Skitari there. Now, the book also, it has a really, it is a numbered limited edition. It's got some, and actually I didn't even know this before, but it's got an Electro Priest right here. You can see him holding his staff, which is pretty cool. Now, there is actually, well, I guess before I go into the inside, it does have this gold sort of edges on the pages, which are nice. And then there is an insert within the book. But the only thing I could really see that's sort of interesting, besides what I've shown you now, is that there's this insert. They're showing some color photos of a Ruststalker. They're all sort of inserted in the middle of the book. They show kind of like in a codex. It talks about the machine god's gifts, and it shows pictures of Skitari weapons. And then it shows, and I've seen this during the release, it shows sort of your Ranger with some of the details around the Ranger. And the rest of it really is, for the most part, a just regular book. Now, it does have also this, bookmark kind of thing in it as well. I am about 50 pages in, and I have to say, this book so far is really good. If you're interested in the Mechanicus, if you've liked them from other books like Graham McNeil's Mechanicum, it is written very much in many segments in a very detailed style of writing that would remind me of Mechanicum. I think it was called Mechanicum by Graham McNeil. Very detailed and almost trying to get you into the head of one of these cybernetic individuals, you know, that sort of their brain is fused with machinery and they're very logical. And so in a lot of it, it's extremely detailed. And at times, I have to say, I have to kind of adjust because I sometimes like to read quickly, skim through and fly through stuff, but I have to sort of pause with each word, trying to, you know, think, okay, so what kind of regiment is that, or, you know, which officer is this, and, you know, because it's sort of really detailed. But it adds to a nice flavor because it is only 200 pages, and it is a little slower reading for me because of that, but it's kind of makes up for it in some ways. It's sort of a nice combination for a change. I hope that made sense, that it was just sort of a different kind of way of reading it. Because of a lot of the Mechanicus jargon that I'm not as familiar with, even if I've read a little bit of it in the past. As far as so far in the book, I'm not going to spoil this at all, but I am just going to mention, you know, some of this is actually in the description when you buy the book on the back of the cover, but, you know, it really is following a alpha Skitari, you know, sort of officer, and so far it's the author Rob Sanders has really done an excellent job at character development and really getting me interested in these new models, and like the Skitari, like it, and they're really like the soldier arm of the Mechanicus, and so he's doing an excellent job at translating that into development of character. The other thing I would say is there's another character that's developed and that is, you know, the Magos, or the tech priest that particular officer is under. And where initially I thought it was going to be sort of like this tech priest that was this sort of thin, spindly guy like in a ship directing him, like we kind of heard with all the fluff and things. I don't think I'm spoiling it just to say it's very far from the truth. I mean, when you read the background of this book, like the advertisements and stuff, it's about an exploratory mission and finding something. Well, this particular Magos is outfitted himself in his purpose in life over time to be an explorer and not a bureaucrat on Mars. And he's sort of a Magos after my own heart, because I really identify and like so far what I've read of this, and I really like some of the characters that they're introducing. Without going into any more, I'll just say that, you know, there's been some excellent interplay among Magi and discussions on how things happen on Mars and just some of the politics and stuff, which was interesting and fun to read. It's really a good book so far. So if you are kind of interested in this stuff, I would consider definitely picking it up. I'm really, really enjoying it. And I guess that's, as far as I'll go with it, that's the, let's see here, the Adeptus Mechanicus Skitarius. Now, for those of you that are not really interested in the models and stuff, only in the book, I'm actually going to be talking about the game now. Just as a little bit of an update, you know, I have been talking about how I want to add Mechanicum to my Space Marines, and this release has made it really difficult. And I don't know if some of you are aware, but a lot of the stuff has been leaked online for the Cult Mechanicus, which is going to be another codex. So right now, the Skitari release has, you know, the initial wave of Skitari release for this year, I think, is finished. And, you know, so we've gotten the, let's say, the, so, gosh, we've got the Rangers, and then there are the other guys, which I was just talking about, the Alpha. And for whatever reason, I'm at a loss in my mind for what that unit's called. But Vanguard, sorry, the Skitari Vanguard. And so we have the Vanguard and the Rangers, you know, as troops, and they've come out with some walkers, and they've come out with some, like, you know, infiltrators, and, you know, elites, and they've come out with, you know, like a basically like kind of like a dune crawler, and so there were some pretty cool things. You know, there was this missing HQ, which everybody was wondering initially whether we were going to get an HQ, but we don't, because the way they're designed is you're kind of the HQ when you're playing, and you're giving them orders. So it's kind of interesting. But now the Cult Mechanicus has actually been leaked, and, you know, so in I think it's White Dwarf next week, we're going to be seeing basically these large bots with a data smith, which is sort of like a tech priest. Really cool model for the data smith. There is going to be a tech priest, like an actual HQ, which looks awesome. And there's going to be electro priests, like the guy that I just showed here. He looks exactly like this. And there are also combat servitors that are on tank tracks that are holding heavy weaponry. And in addition to that, I'm trying to remember whether there was anything else. I can't remember offhand if there was anything else besides what I just mentioned. But for those of you that are seeing the image, and I'll try to put an image at the end of the video, or some images that have been leaked, just so you can see them, what I'm talking about. But I'm having trouble because there's some stuff I really like. I like the way the rules seem to be playing, that they're using these guys for the rules. I like the fact that it's 40k prices and not Forge World. And I like a lot of the stuff. I've really grown to like the Skitari, like, you know, since the beginning of the release, both the Vanguard and the Rangers. And I like the elites, like the infiltrators and things that have been put out. I'm not that crazy on the sort of dune buggy crawler. I'm really not that fond of the walkers, you know, as models. I mean, I think they've done a great job with everything. It's just not my style, for what I want. And for the stuff that's been recently leaked, I'm not a huge fan of these big robots that are with the Datasmith. There are some conversions that can be done that I think can make them look a little bit better, but I really like the Castellax from Forge World a lot better as far as the models. I'm a little hot and cold on the combat servitors, you know, on these tracks, the way they look as well. And so I guess, I mean, I definitely like the HQ, and I do like the Electro Priests. They're kind of interesting. But because I like everything that has been put out pretty much for the Forge World Mechanicum, but because I only like some of the stuff, I'm probably at about 50%, you know, on the release for the Mechanicus for 40k. I'm really undecided about what I'm going to do. Like, I don't know whether I'm going to just focus initially on the 40k stuff, or whether I'm just going to say, just forget it, I'm just going to do a 30k kind of force, you know. Don't really know. Like, I'm actually completely up in the airs on it, and I have some time. I'm actually just not making a decision on it at the moment, because I have some other stuff to paint, and they're still releasing all this stuff. Similar to the Mechanicum, you probably have also been aware of the leaks on the Imperial Knights. There's 3 of them. You know, one of them's called the Warden, but that's actually been leaked, and to me that's, although they can be allied with lots of stuff, I mean, to me that fits right in with Mechanicum, and so that I'm pretty excited about. But yeah, you know, that's why I really haven't had much more discussion on what I'm going to do. I have kind of a plan in my back pocket that I've been thinking all along I was going to do, and I've just been waiting for this stuff to get released, and it has confused me as far as what I want to go forward with, and so I'm just kind of stopping. And in some ways it's nice because I have to do my Imperial painting, as you guys know, my Imperialists, the Space Marines, but then also I have some Eldar to catch up on. And so I'm just kind of working on that stuff now and just thinking about it. And I don't know if you guys, I know there were 1 or 2 of you as viewers that were thinking about doing some Mechanicum, and so I'm kind of interested in what your thoughts are, whether be it rules or the look of the models or what you're planning on doing. But I'm kind of just in a stasis field right now on it. I'm reading this book and really enjoying it, and just watching all this stuff kind of happen. And so without further ado, and letting this go too much longer, I'll just show you some pictures. I'm going to start with the overall. I apologize if it's hard to see, because even the overall shot of the whole forest, both Skitarius and Cult Mechanicus, was a little blurry, and then they did release some images, individual images, that were a little clearer. But what I've got here is all I know of, and so enjoy, and everybody have a great weekend. Take care.